Let's testify tonight. Oh God, you've done so much for me. I'm grateful and overwhelmed here at your feet. And I could stay here forever, Lord. But you call me to something more. And I hear you say that you have a plan to use every broken woman and man to display just how good you are. We are your living pieces of art. What good does it do to hide away when all of my scars are a picture of grace? All right. So I will testify of the power of God. I will tell the word of the hope I have found. For my body was broken, my heart was made whole, and that's too good to keep to myself. So I will testify of the power of God. Oh, do you believe it? Has he done it for anyone else? I said, has he done it for anyone else? Cause the God that I serve, he's always at work. Has he done it for anyone else? So come on and testify of the power of God. Come on and tell the world of the hope we have found. For our body was broken, our hearts were made whole, and that's too good to keep to yourself. Come on and testify of the power of God. This is my story, this is my song, praising my Savior all the day long. I'm gonna testify. Somebody testify your voice. This is my. So I'm gonna testify. Somebody testify. Come on, take it up. Jesus, my champion, the victor of grace, the only one worthy of all of my praise. Yeah. So come on and testify. Oh, somebody lift him high. Come on, testify the power of God. I will tell the world of the hope I have found. Oh, for my body was broken, my heart was made whole, and that's too good to keep to myself. So I will testify of the power of God. Sing that. Oh, my body was broken, my heart was made whole, and that's too good to keep to myself. So I will testify of the power of God. Oh, let's do that right now, Murfreesboro.
And good evening, everybody. I can't believe, and I'm sorry about yesterday. I was actually planning on doing a live stream yesterday, but got stuck on an extremely long Uber ride that took me about an hour and a half to get home from afterwards. So I didn't get home until a good hour later than now. So It was a rough one. However, so I also want to remind anybody that's watching, please, if you are a praying person, keep Mercer in your prayers. Tomorrow, I believe, is his scheduled surgery, and he is very nervous about it. Remember, he asked for prayer for that surgery. So please, everybody, keep him in your prayers. I know he'll be fine, but, I also know how nerve-wracking surgery can actually be. Captain Vandemer, thank you for asking. I am present. That's about the best I can say. The lingering after effects of my episode from about a month ago now are still there, but, it's not as bad as it was a week ago, so there's that. And I was actually working on the reason I should have started this live stream probably almost an hour ago, but I've been working on trying to make a thumbnail for the next series because I just realized that we only have one more chapter to go, and then we are done with Exodus. So I got the next series lined up, but I didn't. I forgot to get a thumbnail ready for it. So I'm working on that even as we speak. I think I found the image I'm going to use, but I'm going to play with some of these little AI image generators a little bit more, see if I can come up with something else. But I do like this one. I'm just not sure how accurate it is. So there's that. So, what else was I going to say? Anything else? Can't think of anything. So let's get right into it because I know these last couple of chapters of Exodus are not the most exciting. I mean, we've gone through several chapters of God's instruction on building the various structures that will become the mobile Jewish temple. And then we have several chapters, including the one we're in right now, of them implementing God's earlier instructions. And so it's almost an exact repeat of the previous chapters. And it would be very easy for me to say, well, let's just skip these because they're all the same as what we've already read. But they're there for a reason. And sometimes we might think, well, I don't care. But at the same time, they wanted to show here's what God said, and here's what the people did. And here's what God said, and here's what the people did. And yes, sometimes that feels very repetitive, but here on this channel, at least, we're not going to skip the stuff that we just don't like, because if we start skipping stuff we don't like, guess what happens? That's right. We start editing the Bible. We start changing God to morph into what we want God to be as opposed to what God is. And that's the most dangerous thing about religion in general. And one of the reasons I don't like the way most churches actually teach the Bible. Because most churches, I'd say probably at least 80 to 90% of churches that, all but one church that I personally attended, the way that the pastor preaches his sermon is that they will have either a pre-selected verse that they read, and then the pastor and it might be like 2 or 3 verses, and then the pastor will tell some kind of relatable story in their life to try and connect it to these verses and talk about the deeper meaning of these particular verses, blah, 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 blah. Or the pastor will have a given subject that they want to talk about, let's say abortion, so they want to talk about the sanctity of life. And so what they'll do is they'll skim the Bible looking for various Bible verses that have to do with that subject in order to build a case for a particular viewpoint. Now, neither of these are particularly effective methods of teaching, at least not in my humble opinion. The first, because while you're not necessarily cherry picking the verse, if you're just going through systematically in some way, like the Methodist Church has a certain system as to how they pick the various verses that they do, but they almost never talk about some of the more controversial sections of the Bible, and they never talk about whole sections of Scripture. They will take one or two lines of Scripture out of context. And, one thing that's very important to note, I know I've said this before, but the original texts that even the oldest, all the manuscripts, actually, the ancient manuscripts that we have, don't have chapters and verses. They're just books. They're individual scrolls that are, all of this information. Well, some of them are actually book format because the invention of the book was right around the same time as the New Testament. So these were actual books meant to be read as a whole. They were not meant to be read in little tiny chunks. And so I find that disturbing that so many people teach that way. The other one, where you build a case for a certain perspective based on various scriptures in the Bible, the problem there is that you are directly trying to influence what Scripture says by coming up with your conclusion first. I want a sermon about why abortion is bad. Therefore, I'm going to scour the pages of the Bible to find everything I can that implies that abortion is bad, whether or not that's what it's talking about or not. And that's why there's a very famous incident of a man spilling his seed on the ground and being struck down by God. I think that was in Genesis. I think it might have been. And people think that that's like an anti-birth control or anti-abortion type of passage, but it's not. It has to do with direct obedience because he was told to impregnate the woman, then he refused to do so. And Multi-Gunman is in the house. Good to see you, buddy. I am hanging in there. Good to see you. Hope you are well. So what we do around here is the same way that the Experience Community Church, the church that I consider home as of right now, the way that they teach, which is expository. We go through entire books, right? So we are now in the second to last chapter of Exodus. We have done all of Genesis. We've done all of the Gospel of John. And, the next book, I think, is one of those books that it's going to be an interesting one because I've never given it an in-depth study before. And I actually don't know anyone who has done an in-depth study of it before. So I'm actually treading in, unknown waters here. And it looks like, September 4th and 5th, 2025 is the next worship night for our church. My wife just sent it to me. And just commenting back at her. And so it's, yes, if you happen to be in the Murfreesboro area, September 4th and 5th, the Tennessee Miller Coliseum will have our semi-annual worship night. And it is 100% free to attend, and all the proceeds go to a charity. I don't know what charity it's going to be as of yet. And Trustin, thank you so much, buddy, with a $5 super chat. Why I didn't hear it pop in, I do not know, but I thank you anyway. And it says, glad you're feeling a little better. Thank you, my friend. The thing about MS, you never get better. You just have good days and bad days. And the thing is, a month ago, I had a series of such horrifically bad days that I've been trying to build back up to just the normal, what I would call a good day. And Laura points out that I said 100% free to attend all the proceeds. Yes, the proceeds, Laura, are from any merch that is sold. Usually at these events, they sell upwards of $10,000 worth of merch, but it's like T-shirts, hats, stuff like that. But there's no ticket price to get in. The actual concert is completely free, if that makes sense. But yes, thank you for pointing out the stumbling of words that I had there. So yeah, it's something to look forward to, something that is always a lot of fun. And you know, if you guys like the opening music that I do on these live streams, that's what we're going to be hearing at that's what it is. That in fact, that footage was taken from one of our prior worship nights. And so yeah, and yeah, thank you. Laura's always here for you, boo. Yeah, thanks, Laura. Yeah. And so remember, transwarp. All right, so let's go right into the. So I was saying, we don't skip the boring stuff. We don't skip the stuff that you might think is repetitive because it is there for a reason. And I think we're meant to go through it all, even if it's not the most exciting part. Then you get to the exciting parts, and of course, they're pretty awesome. So let's get right into this one. Let me switch screens here. Any now. All right, there we go. All right, so this is Exodus chapter 39. Leviticus, by the way, is the next book of the Bible after Exodus. In case you were wondering, that's how, like, because I can page forward here and see there's 39, there's 40, and then the next page is Leviticus chapter 1. All right, so starting with verse 1 in chapter 39. The priestly garments. From the blue, purple, and scarlet yarn, they made woven garments for ministering in the sanctuary. They also made sacred garments for Aaron as the Lord commanded Moses, as we saw earlier. So Aaron is the first high priest. And so we basically set up this government. It's a two-tiered government in a similar fashion as our three-tiered government that we use for the United States today. They had the priestly side, which was Aaron. He was the high priest, and they actually were the ones that would put forth what the law is. Because keep in mind, yes, it was a theocracy, and say what you want about theocracies, but that's what it was. So the law came from the high priest, and so, which is, by the way, a very loose interpretation of where the idea of the Pope comes from, because the Pope is basically serves as high priest today in the Roman Catholic Church. But but Aaron, even though there's not supposed to be a high priest today, but that's a whole other thing. But Aaron was the original high priest, so he would put out the law. Then there was no executive branch. Instead, you had the legislative branch with the priests, and then you had the judiciary branch, which was headed up by Moses. Moses would be the equivalent of the Supreme Court. And then he had other judges underneath him that would make lower decisions. But whoever was the high judge, Moses being the first, would be the person who would ultimately arbitrate anything and everything. So that's basically the setup here. However, because high priests are high priests, they need to have special robes and stuff like that, and that's what that was all about. The ephod, they made the ephod of gold and blue, purple and scarlet yarn, and finely twisted linen. They hammered out thin sheets of gold and cut strands to be worked into the blue, purple, scarlet yarn, fine linen, the work of skilled hands. They made shoulder pieces for the ephod, which were attached to two of its corners so it could be fastened. Its skillfully woven waistband was like it, one piece with the ephod and made with gold and blue and purple and scarlet yarn, and with finely twisted linen as the Lord commanded Moses, again referring back to the earlier chapters. They mounted the onyx stones in gold filigree settings and engraved them like a seal with the names of the sons of Israel. Then they fastened them on the shoulder pieces of the ephod and memorial stones for the sons of Israel, as the Lord commanded Moses. The breastpiece. So this is what Aaron was wearing on his chest. For the breastpiece, they made braided chains of pure gold like a rope. So he was the original, gangster. They made two gold filigree settings and two gold rings and fastened the rings to two of the corners of the breastpiece. They fastened the two gold chains to the rings at the corners of the breast piece, and the other ends of the chains to the two settings. Attach them to the shoulder pieces of the ephod at the front. They made two gold rings and attached them to the other two corners of the breastpiece on the inside edge next to the ephod. They then made two more gold rings and attached them to the bottom of the shoulder pieces on the front of the ephod, close to the seam, just above the waistband of the ephod. They tied the rings of the breastpiece to the rings of the ephod with the blue cord, connecting it to the waistband so that the breastpiece would not swing out from the ephod, as the Lord commanded Moses. Whew. Then other priestly garments. They made the robe of the ephod entirely of blue cloth, the work of a weaver, with an opening in the center of the robe like the opening of a collar, and a band around this opening so that it would not tear. They made pomegranates of blue, purple, and scarlet yarn. Did I read that right? Looks like pomegranates. Maybe I'm misreading that word. And finely twisted linen around the helm of the robe. And they made bells of pure gold and attached them around the hem between the pomegranates. Yeah, that's what it says. I'm sure of it. I just want to make 100% sure by putting this in a Google search. Yep, pomegranates, showing the fruit. Just making sure. The bells and pomegranates alternated around the hem of the robe to be worn for ministering, as the Lord commanded Moses. For Aaron and his sons, they made tunics of fine linen, the work of a weaver, and the turban of fine linen, the linen caps, and the undergarments of finely twisted linen, which, of course, is the root of where the Mormons get their magic underwear. The sash was made of finely twisted linen and purple and scarlet yarn, the work of an embroiderer, as the Lord commanded Moses. So they made the plate, the sacred emblem, out of pure gold, engraved it on it like an inscription on a seal, holy to the Lord. Then they fastened a blue cord to it to attach it to the turban, as the Lord commanded Moses. So, of course, we're getting an image of, we saw how all this stuff was commanded to be made now, and then now we're seeing it actually being put together. And then finally, so all the work on the tabernacle, the tent of meeting, was completed. The Israelites did everything just as the Lord commanded Moses. Then they brought the tabernacle to Moses, the tent and all its furnishing, its clasps, frames, crossbars, posts, and bases. The covering of ram skins dyed red, and the covering of another durable leather, and shielding curtain. The Ark of the Covenant law with its poles and the atonement cover, the table with all its articles, and the bread of the presence, the pure gold lampstand with its row of lamps and all its accessories, and the olive oil for the light, the gold altar, the anointing oil, and the fragrant incense, and the curtain for the entrance to the tent, the bronze altar with its bronze grating, its poles and all its utensils, the basin with its stand, the curtains of the courtyard with its posts and bases, the curtain for the entrance to the courtyard, the ropes, the tent pegs of the courtyard, all the furnishings for the tabernacle, the tent of meeting, and the woven garments worn for ministering in the sanctuary, both the sacred garments for Aaron the priest and the garments for his sons when serving as priests. The Israelites had done all the work just as the Lord commanded Moses. Moses inspected the work and saw that they had done it just as the Lord has commanded. So Moses blessed them. So there you go. So basically, now, they finished putting everything together. They then showed it to Moses. Moses basically put his seal of approval on it and blessed them for their work. And that's where we're at. All right. So to the chat, we will go. This is going to probably be a fairly brief live stream, but, I'm sorry, guys. I'm doing the best I can with what I've got. You know what I mean? Let's see. Bradley says, wonder how much it would cost to replicate these outfits exactly as mentioned today. A lot. I mean, the materials of, like the fabric stuff wouldn't be that much, because while the purple and scarlet and yarns and stuff like that were pretty extravagant for back then, those wouldn't be that big of a deal today. But when you look at the stuff that is either hammered with gold or solid gold, like remember we calculated the lampstands; those were just crazy. But there's a lot of gold in Aaron's outfit too. So that stuff would be very, very expensive, because hammered gold is a lot more expensive than, say, what you see today with gold plating. So it would be a pretty expensive garment, I'm sure. Not to mention the fact that these are crafts people that were the absolute best of the best. So you have to pay for the quality you're going to get for all of that. And Trek Reviewer is in the house saying hi. How you doing? Bradley says a lot of gold, a lot of gems would cost a lot. Yeah, all the gems and the gold is where the money would go. The fabrics, not so much by today's standards, but it would still, when you start talking about the onyx stones and let's see, there's gold all over Aaron, basically. Yeah, that's going to be an expensive outfit. So, would not recommend it as a cosplay, at least not an accurate one. But I think the most expensive part of the whole thing would be the cover, either the cover to the Ark of the Covenant or the lampstands, because both those were solid gold and significantly weighty. Just wondering, anybody use these has anyone used these instructions to make a recreation of the Exodus Temple? That'd be something to see. Not that I am aware of. As far as, like, there's been a few movies that have tried to recreate the temple that was in Jerusalem. But I don't know about the original tabernacle. Made a I'm looking to see. Layout pattern of the Tabernacle of Moses, 3D Tabernacle, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, it's like, it looks like some people have made 3D models of it, but it doesn't look like, and I don't know how accurate this is, but bring this up. This is a YouTube video that was made 6 years ago. Kill the audio. So say this is the Tabernacle of Moses. So this is basically what we're looking at, and it looks like that's fairly accurate if you look at, like, you have the animal skins covering it, you have the posts, all the posts, the tent pegs and stuff for the outer wall, and then you have the table and the burnt offering thing. So, I mean, honestly, this looks pretty good. That's like the outer area. Let's go. All right, so we go in there. I want to see if they have the ark in here somewhere. There's the... I like how they put blood on there just to make it extra graphic. Let's see. Yeah, there's the fancy stuff there. Blah, 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 blah. All right, yeah, so there's the incense and the lampstands. And then the table for the bread of the presence. There's I can't remember what the incense thing, and then that looks, those look like Egyptian, and that is not an accurate Ark of the Covenant, unfortunately. If we look at the cover of the Ark of the Covenant, that looks very much like what we saw for Raiders of the Lost Ark, where the angels are just basically people with wings. And that's not biblically accurate. However, it's a nice approximation. Imagine the outfits are very beautiful, but also very extravagant. Like think about the Pope when he's in his full regalia. Minus the hat. I think the Pope outfit is pretty impressive. Trek Reviewer points out about 2.5 weeks till Strange New Worlds. Yes, I'm very much looking forward to Strange New Worlds Season 3. I'm one of the few people that will defend Season 2, but we'll see what they do with Season 3. And we're also, let me see, June. Oh, wow, I got to tell the wife, we got to watch Squid Games because it's out now. I didn't even realize it came out a couple of days ago. Been waiting for that. Let's see. Even though it's paper thin gold, that's a lot of gold. Yes, because you think about it, like when you plate gold, it's microscopically thin. Paper thick would be probably 100 times thicker. And Daniel with 100 SEKs, which I know is like $1.92, but thank you so much, buddy. Says, I had somewhat fun last stream, not so much before, but 3 streams ago, I had really fun. Well, I don't know what you're talking about specifically, but I'm glad you had fun at the last stream, and sorry about the one before, but I'm glad you had fun 3 streams ago. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to go watch all those streams now to try and think of why you're saying that. Only 2.5 seasons of Strange New Worlds left. Well, no, there's 3 seasons of Strange New Worlds left. It's just the third season 3 hasn't come out yet. It will be 2.5 seasons halfway through season 3. I'm just being a jerk. Just not that I, ever hold back on being a jerk. And, I don't know why the SEK, Swedish Corona is what that one is. But so it's kind of silly. But the SEK, for whatever reason, in the YouTube conversion, doesn't quite understand what it is, like as far as monetary value. That's why, like, it puts it up in. I don't know if it does it on the actual stream. Let me go there real quick, but it probably does. Let's go there now. Oh no, okay. So I guess it's right on the stream. On the EV Mux, it's not right, so that's fine. As far as color coding. And by the way, for anybody that's keeping track, Daniel is currently number 1 in the chat with 550 XP. Good luck in catching up with him. That's what Super Chatting does for you. Tristan is in second place with 275, and Trek Viewer is in third place with 75. Yes, but season 5 is only 6 episodes. Really? That sucks. I didn't notice that. Let's see. Oh, season 5? Is that what they said? Why? According to the show's producers, the decision to end the series of the shortened season was made by Paramount as part of their commitment to conclude the show as envisioned by the executive producers. Yeah, that's that is, ugh. Oh, that hurts my brain. We're supposed to believe. We're seriously supposed to believe. It says that Strange New World's fifth and final season will consist of only 6 episodes. This is a shorter season compared to the previous seasons, which had 10 episodes each. According to the show's producers, the decision to end the series with a shortened season was made by Paramount Plus as a part of their commitment to conclude the show as envisioned by the executive producers. So here's the irony of that statement. The executive producers are saying that Paramount Plus made the decision in order to finish the show in the way that the executive producers wanted it. Think about that. That's just absolute garbage. So, lying is lying, whatever. And I agree, Bradley, 6 episodes is crazy and 10 episodes isn't enough. I mean, think about it. You can take season 1, 2, and 3, or season 3, 4, and 5, and that equals 1 season of the original series. I mean, we're pretty darn close. And that is just stupid. Let's see, if we go to Start Johnny Riddle Series, season 1 of, it's less, because season 1 of the original series was 29 episodes. Season 2 of the original series was 26. So, if you take the first 3 or the last 3 seasons of Strange New Worlds, you have the same as season 2 of the original series. And, that's just dumb. But they do beat out season 3 by 2 episodes. And yes, it does suck, Trustin, that they have short seasons. I'm number one. Yeah, no one's going to be able to touch you this time. Not with that super chat, unless somebody else throws a big super chat in there. Why not just put the last 16 episodes all in season 4? I don't know. ABJ says, looking good, Salty. I haven't seen you since the hospital videos. Well, thank you, buddy. I am here. I'm trying to think of the right way to put it, because in some ways I'm feeling better. In other ways, I'm absolutely not. Like, I will tell you, I am struggling, and I mean struggling to sleep-wise. Now, part of that is because my CPAP machine died on me, and so I'm waiting on a replacement that hopefully I'll be able to get. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to get it because Medicare is Medicare. But, so I'm waiting on a CPAP replacement, so my sleep isn't very good as it is. But I'm also just very, very tired all the time. And that's just wrecking me. So like I'll go out, and when I'm driving Uber, after I drop somebody off, I'll pull over and I'll say, okay, I'm just going to check my messages. And then it's a half an hour later, and I'm like, oh crap, so that happens every now and then when I'm driving Uber. So it's been difficult. So the exhaustion is very real. And man, I got a pain in my neck that won't go away. But I don't know if that's related or not. There's no time to get to know the characters of these short seasons. I agree. Yeah, when the entire series is about as long as 2 seasons of an older show, that's insane. You're absolutely right, Bradley. MS tired, I suppose. Yes. And so it just, it comes with the territory. I'm not, not, it is what it is. Mike Richards is here. Good to see you, Mike. Zort, says Mike, translation, Salty is a jerk.